Hi guys, welcome to FTM Transtastic. I'm Emil, and this week's topic is how we deal with shame. I want to talk about dealing with shame and guilt in relation to being trans specifically, so I'm gonna go over a few reasons why a trans person may feel ashamed or guilty about being trans, because I do think that shame and feelings of guilt is something that a lot of people in our community or people in the LGBT plus community in general can really relate to, so yeah. Reasons why a trans person might feel ashamed or guilty about being trans include having internalized transphobia, or feeling like by coming out or transitioning they're gonna be letting their family down, or thinking that my body already looks good, why can't I just be happy with it? Being told by other people, you were so pretty as a girl or so handsome as a boy, why did you have to transition? As a trans guy, being told that you're only transitioning to get male privilege and by doing so you're betraying women. Or being shamed even from within the trans community for dressing a certain way or for not experiencing a certain kind of dysphoria, or being told, most often from family I think, that your transition is hard for other people and insinuating that you're being an inconvenience. So how do we deal with these feelings of guilt and shame? Well, I dealt with guilt and shame for a very long time in my life, not related to being trans, but related to other things, and it took a long time to learn how to deal with it, to get over it, because it was really difficult. And what finally helped me was, learning to see what is my responsibility and what is not. And what helped me was a mental health professional, like a therapist, telling me, this is not your responsibility. This was never your responsibility. And that helped me be able to let go of that guilt and shame. So I really do think that going to a mental health professional can really help you sort out, what is your responsibility and what is not. Because especially if you've been dealing with feelings of guilt and shame for a long time, it can be really difficult to tell the difference between what's on you and what's not, because it all becomes pretty cloudy in your head after a while when you've been dealing with these feelings a lot. So I really do think that, getting a second opinion from somebody who really cares about you and wants to help you, but is able to look at things objectively, can really help you. And if you can't access a mental health professional, then you could talk to, a friend. So in short, figure out what's your responsibility and what's not, learn how to tell the difference between those things, and if you can't, then look for somebody who can help you figure those things out. And remember that it's not your responsibility to live up to other people's expectations. It's not your responsibility to live within a norm that you're not comfortable with. And it's definitely not your responsibility to care about other people's feelings more than your own survival. You weren't born to be the perfect son or the perfect daughter or the perfect brother or sister, or to live perfectly within a norm that was carved out for you by people that lived before you and never even knew you or cared about you. You were born to be you and to fulfill your own purpose in life. As long as your truth isn't truly harming somebody else and being hit in the bigotry nuts doesn't count, then you should be completely free to live your truth. But I mean, it can be really difficult to not take to heart all of the shame and guilt that's being thrown at you by other people. But I think one thing you can do to start, not taking that into heart and internalizing it as much, is to stop shaming others. Start by challenging your own assumptions that you have about people you might see or interact with, and try to see them in a more positive light. That's what I've been doing, and I feel like now that I look at myself in the mirror, if I find something that I'm not really satisfied with, or that kind of makes me feel bad, I immediately look for something positive instead. And I think, well, I'm not happy about this part of my body or this part of, my personality, but then I'll be like, well, but this is good though. I mean, I like this, and this is a good thing, and this is something that, that I really like about myself. The reason I can do that so easily to myself now is because I started doing it to other people that I would see, because it was easier to do it to other people first, not to myself. And now it's become an automatic reflex, and it's something like, if I see somebody on the street and I immediately have, a negative thought about them that is completely prejudiced, and I mean, it's not usually what I actually think. It's something that's been drilled into me by society. It's a norm, it's a prejudice that comes from a norm that I automatically think. If I ever thought that about a person and it was just complete prejudice, I would just be like, okay, well, but can I find something positive about this person though? And so I would notice, instead of something that I was prejudiced about, I would notice maybe, you know, their style or their haircut or their makeup, or, you know, I would notice something else. And I would, you know, think about that instead, and that would, you know, change my perception of the person, and that would really help me not see that prejudice first. I may still think something prejudiced, but then I'll immediately switch to something positive, because I recognize that that's a prejudice. And that happens on reflex now, and I'm really happy that it does, but it's taken a while, you know? So now I immediately have this reflex of thinking something positive about people that I see, instead of thinking something negative or something prejudiced or something like that. And so I do that towards myself now too. If I notice something about myself, then instead of just thinking about the negative or about the prejudiced or the internalized issue that I may have towards myself, I immediately think about something positive. Not instead, because I still can recognize the negative and it's not completely gone, but I think about something positive as well, and I have a more realistic image of myself, and that really helps me. If somebody ever tries to shame me or make me feel bad about something, I'm just like, you know, yeah, I can recognize that, but also this good thing. I feel like I just went on a little ramble there, but that's something that really helps me, and I wanted to share it, and I hope it came across in the right way. I mean, like, we all have some sort of misogyny or racism or transphobia. We all, you know, deal with things like that, and that's not because we actually think these things or hold these views. It's because society has drilled things into us from birth that we should think, and we have to unteach ourselves those things. And it's a long process, but I mean, as long as you're on the path towards learning and becoming a better person, then I think that's really good. Oh my god, my hands were really cold. That's so nice. So I'm gonna stop there. I hope this video was helpful. If you have anything to add, please leave a comment. Otherwise, have a nice week, and I will see you guys next time. Love you. Bye.